Welcome to Later. I'm Bob Costas. So you ask me, what am I doing, standing by myself here in this room? Well, I'm musing about the great show business couples, Bogart and Bacall, Burns and Allen, King Kong and Fay Wray. I guess Sonny and Cher have to fall somewhere on that list. 15 or 20 years ago, they were as hot an act as you could find anywhere in show business. First a string of enormously successful hit records, then after that a big variety show on CBS TV. Everything was going their way. But by the mid-70s, Sonny and Cher's marriage had dissolved, and they headed in very different directions, personally and professionally. Cher went on to enormous success as an actress, recently picking up the Oscar for her role in Moonstruck. Meanwhile, Sonny went through periods of depression, and professionally, he was floundering. Guest shots on Fantasy Island and The Love Boat. But Sonny Bono has proven resilient. In fact, just a few days after Cher won her Oscar, Sonny himself was back in the headlines, having been elected mayor of Palm Springs, California. Salvatore Bono is here with us tonight, and we're going to find out how, for him, many years after the glory days of Sonny and Cher, the beat goes on. And here we are with the mayor of Palm Springs, California. I'm sure the irony isn't lost on you that Cher won the Oscar for Moonstruck, and a week later, you're elected the mayor of Palm Springs, California.
Yeah, it was scary. I didn't think about it, and I decided to run for mayor, and I'm working real hard and campaigning, and then Cher's doing Moonstruck, and I never associated the two. Then suddenly it dawns on me the night before the election, Cher's that's when they have the Academy Awards. And finally people have stopped comparing me and Cher after about 52 years or whatever it's been. And I thought, oh God, she's gonna win. And then if I lose, I'll never hear the end of it again.
It'll be poor Sonny all over
again. So the heat was on. So she won that night, and then the election was the next day, and I went comatose that day.
Are you a real working mayor of Palm Springs, California, or more an ambassador, a Chamber of Commerce guy?
No, I'm a 12-hour worker, hard-working mayor.
A Republican?
Yeah.
Sonny Bono, a Republican?
Listen, when I was running, they thought I was a radical liberal when I was running in Palm Springs, so they thought they were just going to put a hippie in office who was going to just have rock and roll from day to night.
I mentioned Cher's Oscar for Moonstruck, and there's been a string of successes, Silkwood and Mask, and she was very good, I thought, in Suspect. What do you think of her as an actress?
I think she's good. Well, first of all, I give her a tremendous amount of credit for getting into that position to now become an actress, because she had her problems. When Sonny and Cher broke up, there was no acceptance for her in that area at all. And so she must have worked really hard and put a lot of focus in that area to get where she is now. I always look at Cher, and I can never not be her manager, because that was what I was in the marriage as well, you know. So I'll look at a performance, or I'll look at the way she sings or does something, and I'll critique it and go, I would have gone this way or go that way with you, or do this or do that with Cher. And so sometimes it's not sour grapes, but I may say I think she should have taken it here.
Yeah.
Like when Cher used to sing, she would always want me right there, even on the Sonny and Cher show. And just say, was that okay, or did I take it to the right place? So that was the roles we had, and I guess I still play that role.
When you married her, you were nearly 30 and she was 17. There's
Right.
no question you molded and guided her
Yeah.
career, not just from the business side, but
Yeah.
you helped to shape her as a performer.
Yeah.
She would not have been as successful without you, no question. But the next step is, could she have been as successful as she has been in the last 10, 12 years had she stayed married to you?
I think Cher would have been successful if she hadn't met me. I think somewhere in her mind, that was the goal she always wanted and visualized since she was a little girl. And I think she was unstoppable in that goal somehow. I think I was a vehicle, and I did direct it. I jumped on that train and took her some distance. But with or without me, I think she would have achieved what she's achieved either way.
Have you resolved any feelings of resentment or competition that might have been there after the split?
Yeah, I have. I've been able to disconnect from Sonny and Cher. I still like Sonny and Cher, and I've been able to disconnect from that and move on. But there was a period that I wasn't able to disconnect from Sonny and Cher because I took that double identity, and it won so successfully. And when you win, you don't want to let go of this thing that was a winner. And sometimes you can't focus in on the reality that it's gone. So you kind of do a Don Quixote. You keep going with this wonderful, successful formula that you had, but it's over, and you can't look at that for a while. Until I was really able to disconnect and face it and understand it. It was just an understanding. I mean, I knew it was over, but I didn't know it was over. And when I let it go, then I was able to become myself again and operate as myself again.
How long did you carry a torch for?
It wasn't so much carrying a torch for Cher, it was the whole package. Because I think what went wrong with the marriage, and what I wouldn't recommend for anybody, is both of you be in the same business with the same goals, doing the same thing. Because kind of the romance goes even before the marriage goes, and you don't confront that, and you don't want to confront that. And what happens, you go from a husband and wife and you become business partners and goal partners, but you're not necessarily lovers or romantic. And I don't think you should lose that from a marriage, and I learned a big lesson from that. I would never do that, and I don't feel that way with my wife now. We're lovers and we're romantic, and I want that always to be. And I think if we both were entertainers going the same way, it would go away.
Stay tuned. Later, we'll be right back.
We're going to talk about your wife, Mary, in just a little bit. But
Okay.
on the subject of your marriage to Cher, while you were business partners, the variety show is on the air.
Right.
Very successful program, commercially and critically.
Yeah.
And the marriage is coming apart at the
Yeah.
seams. How difficult was it to stand there on the stage and do that old familiar Sonny and Cher act,
Yeah.
she putting you down, and then you swing into the musical number, knowing in the back of your head that the divorce papers are being filed and that whatever was once there has been changed forever?
It's unbearably hard. I think performers, and you can probably identify this, when they use the word pros, I know why they say pros, because I think all pros get what I call an automatic pilot, and they can hit that automatic pilot, and they can operate on that. They're not necessarily there, but the professionalism in them takes over, and they know that's what they must do, and they do it. But there is pain all the time. Somehow from professionalism, I guess you're able to override that pain for that hour or that day that you're shooting the show. It was hard.
Would you complete a scene and do it with all the necessary folksy feeling and closeness and eye contact and everything else that makes a good scene, and then, boom, go your separate ways to the dressing room?
We were never mad at each other, or we were never rude to each other, or whatever. It was kind of a strange thing. I think in one sense, Cher felt a little guilty because I had guided that career for 11 years and she wanted out. And so I would assume that was her feeling. And my feeling was then you know how when you're going to lose something, you become more in love with that person, or the love part of the deal comes back again, and you're going, how do I put the love part of this thing back again, you know? So you never stop being that little boy walking on a fence trying to say, look, I'm still that same guy, you know? So I think that was the two things that were going on all the time. So I would say after the thing was over, Cher's part, she wanted to go back to that room. I would always like to be around her as much as I could to see if I could win it back again.
Your present wife, Mary,
Yeah.
much younger than you, 26, 27 years old, beautiful
27,
girl.
thanks.
And I asked you about this before we came
Yeah.
on, just to make sure it was not a misquote, and you
No.
cheerfully acknowledged
Yeah.
it. She said, hey, I'm a Sonny and Cher fan myself, and oddly, a part of me would almost like to see them back together.
Yeah. I think what she meant was you get sad to see them, Sonny and Cher, break up, because there is some magical thing that happens. It even happened when we did the Letterman show, when the two of us get together. So it's kind of sad when you think we're broken up. And from her standpoint, I think she just hates to see Sonny and Cher broken up, and I hate to see them broken up too. But I'm much happier with what I've got now, with my beautiful wife and my beautiful son. But when you see the act or something, you go, gosh, they shouldn't have broke up. So I don't know how to explain that, but that's as much as I can explain it.
What was happening in this building over in Studio 6A when Sonny and Cher got back together? I mean, that was a major television event. I know people who ordinarily don't stay up that late, who forced themselves to do so, and something so special was happening that it was coming right through that screen.
Yeah, it's one of those things that raise the hair on the back of your neck, and it happened to me. Or if I think about it sometimes, that can happen to me. And I had two emotions going at the same time. It was exciting and kind of fun, and I was sad too, you know, because it's almost like something that's dead's resurrected, and you know it's really dead, and you're just seeing a mirage or something like that. But doing it was electrifying. The whole studio was electrified. We were. It was strange, but it was that magic occurs whenever we're together, anytime. And I don't know what it is, but when Sonny and Cher today get together, or if we go somewhere together, the impact, I would say, is 10 times the impact that it has if one of us goes out separately. It's just this magical thing that occurs.
Was she as exhilarated by the Letterman appearance as you were?
I don't know. Cher's hard to read. I'm more of an extroverted kind of person. Cher's real introverted, contrary to what you think sometimes, even when she's brash or hard. That's part of a facade. That's part of a way for Cher to hide. She was that way when I met her. She hides behind this brashness, but inside she's real introverted, so it's hard to read Cher's emotions. I didn't know we didn't have a happy marriage till the day she left. It wasn't something that I saw coming. It just, boom, happened in one day. I've got flowers in the spring. I've got you. Wear my ring. And when I'm sad, you're a clown.
We'll be back with much more. Back with Sonny Bono. Another quote from your wife, Mary. She says, the only thing that Sonny doesn't like to do is listen to rock and roll.
Yeah,
Tell me
she's
it
right.
isn't so.
I like old rock and roll. I like
Uh-huh.
60s music.
Me too.
I've got to admit that I just think it was a better musical era and that songs were better.
There's
And
a general absence of melody now, right? There's a lot of good riffs, a lot of good grooves,
Yeah.
a lot of hard driving
and I
music
like
on the radio,
some of
good
it.
musicianship, but the melodies, the
Fabulous.
hummable tunes aren't there.
Yeah, the kids are great musicians and they're great creators, and it's their world, you know, and they see it a different way. But I'm sentimental on that 60s era because there was a Tin Pan Alley then that doesn't exist today, and I know you had it in New York and we had it in L.A. and you could borrow $500 and go and cut a master and get into a studio and have somebody buy it.
Did you work a little bit with Phil Spector, the great producer?
I worked a lot with Phil Spector. I was a promotion man, and a promotion man means a guy that gets a stack of records like this and you go to all the radio stations and you try to get them played. And suddenly, these records came in and I was going, wow, who is this person putting out these songs in that sound? And one would come on Philly's records, one after another, and they were unbelievable.
Just to refresh the audience's memories, we're talking about Chiffons, Crystal, Shirelle,
Ronettes,
Righteous Brothers,
Bobby Sox and the Blue Jeans, Darlene Love, all of them. So these records are coming in. I said, I gotta find out what this guy's doing. So I called Phil, and I said, I have to work for you. And Phil's about this tall. He's shorter than me, and he talks funny and going, why you want to work for me? And I said, because I just want to work for you. I want to know what you're doing. So how much money you want? I said, I don't care. Anything. Just let me work for you. So he hired me. I talked him into hiring me, and I was Phil Spector's flunky for 2 years. And Cher sang on the background of all those records too. But him and Cher didn't get along. And I wanted him to record Cher, and he wouldn't do it. So about after I watched Phil for a long time, I said, I got it. I think I got it. I learned, you know, he was like a teacher to me, and he was a professor to me. And I watched him and studied him, and when I got it, I wrote Baby Don't Go. And I said, Phil, will you record us? And he didn't want us. I wrote Baby Don't Go for Cher, and we went off on our own. Borrowed $135 and cut a master.
And Spector, although you don't hear much from him now, he's kind of a recluse. His influence is far-reaching. That Springsteen pays tribute to him. You listen to the start of Born to Run, and the way it builds up in the instrumental lead-in. That's wall of sound stuff.
Yeah. Phil's always going to take a place
the Phil
in
Spector wall of sound.
Yeah.
There's probably somebody out there under the age of 20 doesn't know what we're talking about.
Right.
And we feel like the old-timers.
Yeah. He will always take a place in music, and he will always be revered in music.
We've got less than a minute.
Okay.
I Got You, Babe, You Better Sit Down, Kids, Needles and Pins, which you wrote for the Searchers. Which is your best song? What are the ones you're proudest of?
I'm proudest of I Got You, Babe. You Better Sit Down. I like them all. I Got You, Babe has the most meaning for me. And then I liked The Beat Goes On. It had a story that really meant something. And then last night I was watching television. There's a fight, and the guy goes, well, the punches go on, or should I say the beat goes on. And they use it all the time. So that's kind of neat to have that happen.
And electrically, they keep a baseball score.
You're the only person that knows what those were the lyrics. Everybody said, what are you saying
Drums
there?
keep pounding rhythm to the brain. And by the way, although Cher has had her acting successes, you're terrific as Deborah Harry's put-upon husband in John Waters' Hairspray.
Yeah, that was fun.
We'll talk about that sometime the next time you come back. It was good to see you.
It was a pleasure.
We'll continue in a minute.